Hi, I wanted to start this video from the login after the login page because there was a note here posted, and I think you should remember to look for these notes. Sometimes there are some issues that come up with this learning management system which we use, which is a very good system, generally speaking. But here's one where they're having trouble receiving credit card and PayPal payments. I think this once happened before in all the time I've been using it, and they end up pushing back the temporary accounts to be available for another 14 days or something like that. But hopefully you haven't been waiting to pay for your course material. You've just went ahead and gotten your course material because you know you need it. Okay, a comment about students that may not be officially enrolled in the class that are on the wait list. I have talked to the dean, and I am not allowed to have more than 50 students. There are currently 59 students in this roster. Excuse me, pardon me. I wanted this one. Sorry, I'm finally getting a little bit better from a 5-day sickness that I've had, and so I hope you can hear me okay. So, of these students, if you see your name listed here, that's a good sign that you've been following directions to get your course material, do your orientation assignment, start your review sections, and move forward in the class. But I should also help you know that if you are signed into the class on the wait list, you're not officially in, and I need to help clarify the students that are going to stay here and understand the conditions and succeed, and those that aren't. And then if there are any that want to take a different class or take it another semester, allow those to move on as we keep the top 50 students. It does look here like we have some duplicate names, duplicate accounts that were created. You need to follow the instructions carefully so that that wouldn't happen. Either way, we'll try to work some of those details out. So let's get into some of the details. First of all, I know that the review assignment was posted and has already passed due, but I will be opening up without changing the deadline so we can kind of remember the pacing schedule that we should have been following. I'll be opening up these links, allowing you to do them with full credit after this video is posted. Currently, you should be completing and have completed section 1.1. This erroneous section 1.1, I'll be unassigning, so you will not see that section showing. I know that some students had already worked on it. That's okay. And I'll be posting a due date for this quiz to use that as a guide for this week to see who is still enrolled. I'm going to incorporate a policy where I drop the lowest quiz score now. So originally I wasn't going to have the Chapter R review quiz required, but I'm going to require it now and allow that to be one of your top 7 quizzes, and drop the lowest one, so you'll be using still 6 quizzes. We're going to be covering chapters 1 through 6. This Chapter R, or review chapter, is provided as an optional assignment to help people get caught up or bridge the gap if they haven't had math for a while. You'll also find that all of the all of the sections from chapter 1 are already review. So if you feel like you're doing stuff you already know, that's a good sign that you remember things that you had covered in a previous math class that was the prerequisite to this, or previous math experience. So, for example, from section 1.2, because section 1.1 is really just trying to show you how to be successful, from section 1.2 to section 2.3, excuse me, I've got a cough, you will be doing stuff that you would have covered in Math 101, which is the prerequisite for this course. There's no requirement that you've taken that class, but the prerequisite knowledge is still expected, can be expected by your instructor which is me in this case. You'll still get credit for those sections. All of Chapter 1 is required and due. All of Chapter 2 is required, and so on. So think of it as this kind of nice way to start the semester where you're getting to do some of the easy stuff first that will help you review and get ready for the new stuff. The truly new stuff, based on the prerequisite for this class, doesn't really begin until section 2.4. But that doesn't come for a little while. Either way, here are the required assignments. They are those that have due dates. The due dates posted will have 3 additional days to still access them. So if you get in a time crunch and get a little bit behind, they'll still be open a little bit longer, but I don't want you to rely on those 3 days as your deadline. I want you to rely on the posted dates as your deadline. It's essentially 3 sections a week with exceptions made for when we have holidays and for when we're having quizzes or tests. There'll be quizzes posted after each chapter is finished with the required due date, and then the tests are the midterm and the final, and those were posted on the registration page when you signed up for the class. Let me share with you how a person who may not be completely prepared for this class could approach being successful. This is the new edition of her book that we've used, and she's put in some new options here with the video organizer. So if you feel like the reading of your text is not enough, then you can come to the multimedia library. I should be careful to say that you can come to the multimedia library regardless, but you can click on the section lecture videos, and she has videos for each section. So you'll see R1, it's the whole section video showing the summarized time, and then the objectives that are found in that video. You don't need to click these unless you want to just go to an objective. But if you're going to watch the 23-minute video, for example, in R2, that will cover all of the objectives A through F for R2, and so on. The nice thing that we have now for us is a video organizer with follow-along notes. So as you watch the video, pause and play, and involve yourself as though you were part of the discussion. These are PDFs, which makes it very convenient for you to open them up on a phone or tablet or some other device. They're also easy to print, but they will allow you to be able to follow along and fill in when she asks questions. I'm trying to stall for a second while it loads, but you've probably seen them. Go ahead and click on them yourself. I'm going to choose section 1.3 to take a look at. And you'll see that when she starts, she'll define what exponential notation is, and you can pause and write in what the pieces mean, and then work with her. So 3 to the third you can write as 3 times 3 times 3, and then you can evaluate as 3 times 3, which is 9, times 3, which is 27. And from that point on, anytime you see 3 to the third, you can just think that's the number 27. So it's a great way to follow along. In addition, back to the assignments, I've posted some of the questions that align with those notes in these video check homeworks. These are not required, so do them if you like. Along with these reviews, these are not required, but it'll help you to feel like you're attending a class and involving yourself in discussion. So let me take you to the gradebook. I'm not sure that I'll have any gradebook items showing, so it's more difficult to demonstrate, but make sure you choose the time period which you want to look and the type of items. Here we have the grade breakdown. Homework's worth 15%, the quiz is worth 35%, and the tests, the midterm and the final, 25% each, so 50%. When you do have assignments completed, if they're required assignments, they will show here, and if they're not required, they'll either have a dash, two dashes, or they'll be grayed out and they'll be omitted. They won't affect your final score, except for the opportunity that I might provide for extra credit, but I'm not planning on extra credit right now, because if we plan on it now, then it usually becomes the focus, unfortunately. So right now, I'd ask you to focus on the required assignments and using the discussion board to ask for help on different questions with one another. And if you need to send me private messages through Piazza, you can use that as well. I hope this helps clarify some information, and I'm sorry that this is about 10 to 12 minutes you'll never get back. Sorry about the monotone, sick voice, but